Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Predecessor Nations League semifinals here. I'm Dila, once again joined by the vocal talents of Ragnarok as well as Mugi, Wawa. Guys, how we feeling?
Well, I'm feeling great. Another set, another banger. We're hoping for this one. Probably a little more hopeful, a little more prosperous. That it's a more of an even game.
Yeah, after watching England playing so good, I can't wait to see who is going to be their opponent, and then I can't wait to be able to enjoy the finals. But of course, this set is a little bit special to my heart. French myself, so of course I'm going to root for the Frenchies. It's a bit of Cocorico there, and I hope we can get like a wonderful England against French, so that way French get like back-to-back champion, and on top of that, we settle the debate that Europe is better than NA.
Ooh, trying to finally put the across the pond battle to bed. Well, we could try to see if it happens by sword or it might happen by words. We could duel with verbs as well. We're going to bring in some players here to duke it out before we even get to the game itself. So let's bring up our friends here. Neft, Toasty, let's talk. Welcome in, guys. Welcome in. Neft, looking a bit different there, my friend. Just maybe hasn't quite woken up yet. That's A-okay. Toasty, how we doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Ready to take France out back, you know what I mean?
Well, you might have already had the job done for you, it seems, by Neft's internet. Unfortunate to see there, but hopefully they'll rise to the occasion soon enough. So in that case, Toasty, let's just start with you, buddy. Just us in this room at the moment. You come from a team of players that have stuck together through multiple PCCs, and now an international war of the ages. How do those bonds impact your team's reactions to obstacles to victory, to tilt-inducing events?
Our bonds are pretty strong. Me and Lake Nader dueling, we're longtime friends, been friends for 20 years, so I can say whatever I want to him and he doesn't get upset, so and it goes backwards, or both ways. Lobber's the most chill dude on the planet, so, you know, it's the coordination is just there. We just got that. We're so strong. We're so tight, you know. And then Blub is whatever.
Well, that's some good confidence in your team. I respect it. All right, Blub. Hopefully you didn't hear that part, my friend. Neft, I've received word that you have indeed entered the chat. What's going on, my friend? How we feeling?
I feel good. I feel good.
Excellent. Well, I'm sure you feel good, especially given the fact that Neft, we're not have to mince words here. You click keys good. You game good. You game so good, in fact, that many players in their interviews prior have selected you as someone they'd slot in alongside their ideal dream team. Does that great power come with great responsibility, or does it not really come to mind when you're playing in these high-stakes games?
Nah, I'm kinda just playing like the video game normally, and if I perform well, it's like pretty good for us, but like, yeah, I mean, I have some responsibility, I guess, but I'm just like enjoying the game and like playing the game as much as I can, I guess.
Very, very fair, my friend. And I'm going to ask this question, posing it to both sides here. So we'll start with Toasty to consider, but Neft, of course, please also mull over your answer as well. The fighting spirit of your team, what do you think really reflects the vibe of Team Canada in terms of how they approach games, how they approach life in general? In these comms that we can't quite hear, what's going on behind the scenes?
It's mostly just trying to leash in our mid laner, stop Abby from getting aggroed by the 3 camp, and try to stop Lobber from just getting rotated on because he wants to get that cannon so bad. It's pretty relaxed. We're not like super serious. Well, I always am. I can't turn it off. So they always get upset at me for tilting. But, you know, we're kind of chill going into it.
Respect. Neft, you?
I mean, in France we're kinda chill. I mean, it just depends. Can go pretty bad sometimes, I guess. But like our game plan is just to, I guess, enjoy the game, play seriously. Nations League is fun. So yeah, I mean, we chilling for now.
Gotcha. Well, nice to hear that you guys are all cool, calm, and collected. Toasty, I see a large whiteboard in the background there. Does that hold the secret formula to Team Canada's success?
I wish. It does not. I have not figured that one out yet.
Okay. So hopefully you're going to be doing some calculations behind the scenes once the cameras are cut in that case. Guys, let's talk about
I'm in the lab
here. He's in the lab. Of course he is. Wait, I mean, better start cooking quick, buddy. Game time's almost here. So we have your competition presented with you, and I just gotta ask, guys: France French or Canadian French? Which one's better? Why?
Can I pick neither?
Ooh, Toasty. Wow. Okay, battle of the bilingualism. You say I don't even want to have it. Can you explain?
I don't speak French. I'm Canadian. I know like 3 French words.
Which are?
Bonjour, je m'appelle. That's 2. Okay, I'm 2.
All right, we found out some new things about this. All right, Neft, then in that case, slander against your language. How do you respond?
I don't know. I think French friends, like French from France, are kinda hot and he's kinda jealous, but that's it.
I can't name one French person. Except for you, I guess.
Except
And
for
Mugi.
Neft. Neft's going to make you regret those words. You have to name 4 more after a bit if France indeed ends up moving on. Guys, before I toss it to my fellow desk fellows over here, just overall, without giving up too much of your battle strategies here, what do you think's your approach in terms of mentals, in terms of how we're thinking about draft, compositions, battle strategies? What is on the minds of each of your teams going into this? Neft, you first.
I mean, I think we are just going to play as we are used to play. Like, we love to play on like side lanes and stuff like that, chill. So I think we're just gonna play for what we are used to do. Sorry. So
Very fair. Toasty, you.
We're trying to just get through the ping diff issues and then just win easily on home soil. So 2-0 real quick, and then move on to do the same thing to England.
Alrighty, well, that might be a tough challenge given how they performed last time, but I'm going to open the field up to my friends here. Ragna, Mugi, anything to ask?
Nothing.
Mugi.
I have one little thing for Toasty. I don't know if you get the chance to watch the England game, but Penguin was an absolute monster on the support role, finally showing what support can do in competitive scene. Does that bring like some fire into it to actually show also what like the best support in NA can do or not?
Don't expect much from me on EU ping. I'll try to look as good as I can, steal some kills maybe. But yeah, I'm always excited for like more support players to like be better. I feel like the support role is probably the most limited role in terms of competitiveness. There's like maybe 4 people total, but you know, I'm excited to see what ManQ can even do. You know,
For
I know
sure.
ManQ
Actually,
wants to be me so bad, so.
hold on, that brings up such an interesting question. Neft, why so many folks beefing with ManQ?
I don't know how to answer this question.
all right, you can pass, buddy. Hey, you have the right to remain silent. We're in America. You're
I see how
I'm
we
in
pass this
Argentina,
one.
All right, valid pass. Then in that case, guys, we're going to pass on to the wheel here, deciding if we go to a game 3, what ping we will be playing on as we see that one appear real quick. No bias here, 50-50 all the way around. Again, this decides game 3's server decision. So spin, spin, spin. Tell us which server we shall win. Going to be NA or EU. We're starting with EU game 1, but this is all about that game 3 tie break. Unfortunately, Toasty, if it goes to game 3, you're going to be working through a lot more than just these 5 members. Some ping diff going to be coming at you. So is it going to be that 2-0 still? Only one way to find out. Guys, last words before we send you back to the Shadow Realm to continue on with the games.
If it goes to game 3, you might see a Grux support, just saying.
Nice.
Keep an eye out for that. Neft, you.
I don't think it will go to game 3 anyway, so it's fine.
That's so true.
Alrighty. Sacre bleu, I say. Well, with that, guys, thank you very much for your time. Appreciate both of you. Best of luck on the fields of battle. We'll see you there soon. Ragna, Mugi, strong words here from our compatriots on the French and Canadian side. Just lobbing insults across the pond at each other. What are our thoughts coming from these interviews?
Well, as the wise man said, thanks for the money. That's all I have.
And that kind of show me that I'm not the only French using a lot of I mean and like, so I guess that's probably like an issue that we have in our language. But yeah, both sides going for the 2-0 on their own side, naturally, so that's going to be a bloodbath, I think, and no team are going to give an edge to the other one.
And we might just see Grog support if we do get that 3. So hey, nice to hear. That being said, draft. Let's talk about it here. What are we expecting? What are we hoping? What are we fearing?
I don't think there are hopes and fears really in the draft. it's really basic. What we're gonna see, the meta picks. We're gonna see some interesting picks. We have seen the Revenant from France. We've seen the Norbush from France. These are two picks that are known, and we have seen from them that not other people pull. Whether in the jungle and the mid lane and off lane, we had nothing special really. Nothing special there. But I don't know much about Canada except for Grim mid lane.
Yeah, true. Blub love his Grim. He was playing Grim off lane in the PCC. It seems that it's a pick that he loves. I think like more in terms of pick, it's maybe like gonna look for picks that fit their identity, because I feel like on the side of France, we really have a team that loves to be aggressive, force objective all the time. They like to force those fights. Of course, they don't just like press W without thinking, but they love to be aggressive. So that's, I think, the team that probably got the highest number of R prime at 20 minutes. They just like, okay, we're ahead. We're gonna push the action. While on the side of Canada, it's more a team that even if they're 0-20, they can still win the game, which is pretty impressive. And here we got like El Diablo's stat, which is like Blub, for those that don't know, playing Grim. And yeah, a lot of kills, 11 kills on average per game. I think that's insane, actually, that many kills. But yeah, like I can't see how these two philosophies clash against each other and which strategy is better in the end.
I mean, when you have double 80 carries able to burn out objectives real quick, and if France likes to play around those areas, sets you up for some nice in-hand, sends you up for nice damage there for Blub to just kind of go off. I know that Toasty was just saying, yeah, it's just, you know, it's DLAB, and then there's Blub here, but Blub can still do work, clearly. Look at them stat lines. Do not underestimate Blub. Might just take the dub if they don't flub. Now, getting back into it, we're going to be looking for draft in just a second. Game one, just France is a force. Everyone was talking about in the interviews, even if they weren't going up against them, a lot of people had their minds on that flag, had their minds on it, just going up against them with prospects if they make it this far. Canada have a big challenge ahead of them. To be fair, France do too, but I think there's a lot of legendary mythos surrounding the team of France. What do you think's got to be the mentality going in here for Canada's side?
I don't think they're really worried, in my opinion. Like, they're PCC winners, they're top players. I don't think they would be worried about stuff like that.
I think one thing that is interesting is that probably both jungler in that match, because I assume we're still going to see Romawer in the jungle and Happy Picker in the jungle, those two players are actually mid-main.
Yes.
Shift for the Nation League to go into the jungle. So we kind of have the same similarity, even though Happy Picker has a little bit more experience to play jungle in competitive setting because he already has done it in the past. But that should be interesting. And I feel like that's maybe where both teams can take an advantage. It's like maybe trying to push on that jungle and take advantage of junglers that are not fully adequated with their role.
That's so interesting that you bring up that point, because yeah, Happy Picker, not only just a mid, a fantastic mid too. Make some way for Blub, very kind of you, my friend Appy, but you are in a bit of position that you're less comfortable in. I'm not going to say uncomfortable, because both of those players on each side are still incredibly adept at those roles. But when you have that kind of lack of stability, at the very least comparatively to what they normally main, do you opt to go for the jungle picks first, or do you opt to leave that for later? We talked about how ADCs normally aren't receiving that first-time attention. Is it a different story if you're in the jungle?
A little bit, maybe, because the top characters are usable in the jungle, like Terra, like the Richter, like the Rampage. So you could very much see the prior picks go to the junglers, yeah.
Definitely, and also like naturally, since those players don't really play jungle main, that means that their hero pool is also a little bit less deep than the main jungler, which means that if you pick the jungler after the second ban phase, suddenly you can end up with a character not fully comfortable with, and against a team of those caliber, either Canada or France, that could spell doom for your team.
Absolutely, and especially, I mean, we talked about it before with Import, where he says, you know, jungle, it's not maybe as hard as you think, but it is still vital. The word that they had on mind, macro. Macro's the whole enchilada. You can't make sure you ignore that, even if you might think that it's technically requiring less finesse or so than other roles. It's still going to become vital, especially when you have players of this caliber piloting each thing. The link is going to break at its weakest, or the chain is going to break at its weakest link. You have to make sure that each member is standing up strong Let's get into this draft, though. France versus Canada. France going to be picking first here and also going to be pinging first. They're the ones who have the advantage on these EU servers. Do we expect to see that impact the drafts? Only time will tell.
Yeah, I think we just need to see the several bad, in my opinion, here from France for obvious reasons. Yeah, here it goes. A good character, a player that debatable the best on the character as well. So what we will be seeing here from Canada, maybe not the Zings ban, as we have not seen Manq much from much of the character, and don't see the ban. We see again Scorch.
And that's an interesting ban. So France is going to reap the Rictor up. Of course, Rictor can be played in 3 different roles. We have seen Manq playing the Rictor in previous tournament to a very high level. So, and also like some very nice engage with the Riftwalkers. But that leave, of course, the Zinx open for Toasty. We have seen Penguin like being super strong on Zinx. I think Toasty is also a phenomenal Zinx. And we're going to secure the Steel. Steel most likely to be able to put it on the ends of Lobber. Lobber's on the when he can be a front line that survive is very strong, and also Steel kind of nullify the offlane matchup. And we all know how Moros, if he start to get some kills, can snowball and win the game by himself. Putting a Steel against him, I think, can be like a very good solution to just say like, hey, you're not gonna play. I'm never dying. You're never dying, and we're gonna have fun.
I'm liking everything that's happening so far. I'm having fun. This is very typical. It's very by the book, but I'm okay with that for a game 1 for sure. Zarus can be picked up there for France, as well as that Drongo. Provides some flexibility, and it also aligns with what we said before. Jungle is a good thing to prioritize first, so if that Zarus is indeed stepping into that role, you already have that locked away. Canada can't take it for themselves.
As far as they have, we see a lot of flexibility because we know Boros in the Zarus, right? Might as well go on Outflip, might as well go on the jungle, and we still have the flex in the Richter as well, so they don't know what to ban for Canada here for the second ban. But as we speak, they get their prior pick, they get the Rampage, which I've played a couple times. A very good character, opens up space, does what needs to be done.
And here we see the Howitzer target ban probably against Easy Peasy. He has been playing phenomenal on the character. Well, of course, on the side of France, since we already have our own carry, on the jungle, we're going to remove the Murdoch, which is like the character that Lekonator has played the most throughout the tournament so far. So it makes sense to remove that. And what is interesting, I think, from those two sides of the draft, I feel like each team has got what they want. And they don't compete for the same thing, so in the end, it worked out. But I'm quite curious to see how they're going to round up the draft. We're still looking for the carry. Twin Blast can be an option. And also like the mid lane. Is Blub going to pull off his green mid or go for something else? Against Azarus, green mid is a little bit tough too.
I'm a fan of the fact that, like you said, everyone's happy at the end of the day, because it never feels good when a game is won or lost at the drafting board. It's always nice when it comes down to what we see on the field. What we're seeing on the field now is a Twin Blast as you pick the Mugi. Makes sense. Canada, operate on that ping. Respond accordingly. It's traditional. It's simple. We're playing it traditional. We're going to just make sure that this first game, all we can blame if it does not go our way is our own execution. But the comp has a lot of good points to it. You're putting people behind players that they understand how to use. Faye is going to be locked in here. Kant would be certainly proud. Terra finishes off the comp.
Really strong picks. Faye coming off of a lot of buffs. Really strong mid laner. Would struggle maybe against the Rampage if he really wants to get her out of the game. He could potentially, but still, if she can free cast, this might be hard for the enemy team to pull. He pulls it anyway.
Yeah, I think Blub is confident. It's the type of player that no matter what, I pull the green. I also love like the Faye pick because you already have the Rictor that force like the reclamation, for instance, of Zinx, and then you also have the fly trap. So you have like two very strong things that requires the reclamation, so Zinx cannot cleanse everything. But you have this very strong front line. It's a very DLAB draft. You have like DPS, Enchanter, 2 front line. That's what they love to play. On the side of France, you have like those 2 bruiser with high damage in the back and also like additional CC. Those 2 teams have what they want. Now it's really like who can execute better to be able to dominate.
Exactly. I love this. I'm a big fan that it really just comes down to, okay, all the mathematics that Toasty had up written on the board, do those calculations end up being correct, or will they all fall apart and they have to recheck their addition? France are happy too, so guys, comp for comp. 3 words or less. Who wins? Why?
That's a 50-50. Both comps are good.
I'm gonna say France. Wombo combo is the GOAT.
With no bias whatsoever for my friend Mugiwawa here, saying that France takes it over Canada. Can DLAB and the boys fend them off? It's once again a battle of the ages. Only one way to find out how it ends. F6, Doc Shadow, bring it on.
It's a little bit of a surprise angle, ladies and gentlemen. We are back. You got the E squared combo rocking with you today. It's Ego, it's F6, and we got the clashing of some of the best teams we can present for you in nations. It's France and Canada. Brother F6, are you excited for this game?
Dude, I'm super excited. I've been waiting for this all day. They told me it's going to be Canada versus France, and I was like, man, maple syrup versus the baguette. We're gonna have to see which one is the tastier treat to have for a snack, and we're gonna find out here today.
Both of these teams got me carb loaded out of my mind. That being said, though, these compositions, as we have pointed out on the desk, are very comfortable for both of these teams. So it is going to come down to maybe a couple spot plays and the execution of these high caliber players as we're going to be making our way into this game one, though. F6, on the side of France, is there any players or picks here you think some of these viewers should keep their eye on?
One of the things going to be here is going to be that Zaros. We know Morose likes to play the Zaros. We've seen Morose on Zaros throughout the group stage and throughout the earlier in the quarterfinals. He has exceptional gameplay with it. He understands the hero and he understands how to play the hero in the offlane, even if it's one of his kind of weaker roles currently with the nerfs that he's received in prior patches. But with it on Morose, if he skyrockets here, he is against Lauber. I think it's going to be a little bit of a tougher time, especially with that steel being a little bit tankier, but it should be a problem going into this game nonetheless because of who's piloting it and how comfortable he is on that character.
It's kind of crazy that Morose just has no weak characters. You can put him on Zinx in the solo lane and you're like, well, I mean, it's an 8 out of 10 matchup, 9 out of 10 times. That being said, though, over onto the other side, they said on the desk that this is a very comfortable DLAB draft, and it very much so does look like it. Bringing out the Rampage in combination with the Steel, you're going to have some very solid front lines, and with the combination of that Shield Slam and the Behemoth, some survivability and engage, it's going to look very solid from Canada, especially when you have that Regenesis to back it up with the Zings.
Yeah, that's why she is so strong. It's not necessarily even throughout everything else. It's just the ability to revive. She has the ability from the prior crest called a Phoenix, and then we already know how much of a problem that crest was in the game, especially on a Greystone. But now that you have it on a hero on a very short cooldown throughout the game, makes it that much more impactful. And this really her strength, especially when you compare that with a Ricochet, those group fights to get multiple stuns off. So it's definitely something to watch out for. Toasty very comfortable on this character, like Mugiwa was saying on the desk there. So it should be a very fairly even matchup towards that lane.
I'm very excited to see it. I mean, this does feel like a clash of the Titans, and I overall am just an esports enjoyer, so anytime I get to see Lakeinator and Neft, Lauber and Morose kind of duking it out in the lanes, I always know much like the viewers of Nations, like the viewers and enjoyers of Predecessor, that I'm going to be in for a treat. All that being said, though, kind of pivoting our attention over to not only Canada and France's draft, but the overall characters and players. Is there any character in particular, especially within the early game, that you feel like has to kind of show out to set the tone?
It's going to be that Rampage. It's also going to be this Richter.
Oh my God, the Whiplash bring them under tower and looked like a damage trade going in favor of Canada, but only for a moment as ManQ set up the Whiplash and evened the odds.
Even the odds indeed, but to finish out your question, they always like to do the most extreme stuff whenever we're trying to get some plays out there. But it's going to be that Rampage, like I was saying. It's going to be that Richter. You saw that Whiplash, and the misposition that you can put your enemy at and a disadvantage is so useful for turning a lot of these trades and turn a lot of these fights. And also the Rampage to be able to get in those early game ganks. The Boulder is one of the most useful tools early on. The stun is so long that it just allows for you to be able to get a lot of damage off and burst down your enemy, especially early on with not a lot of armor, not a lot of health, to be able to survive those impacts.
Yeah, and as you said, the Richter, as we saw just a couple moments ago, I like to call it a Scrabble tick because he gets the words all mixed up. You thought you were a backliner? Oh, you mean frontliner, as now taking a shift over. We're going to see El Diablo putting a little bit of aggro, a little bit of damage on Easy Peasy, as Appy Picker is going to be putting the rock down onto Zarus. Action breaking out everywhere, but with the Riplash being just offline here in the duo lane, it looks like the kill potential is going to drop off.
Drop off indeed. One of the nice things about having to go against a Richter with Zinx is being able to not only have the ricochet, but the fact that a lot of times if the Richter misses 1 or 2 hooks, the mana efficiency on him is not just quite there yet until he gets a couple items online to maybe help facilitate with that. So you kind of, if you dodge 1 or 2, you kind of be okay and safe in the lane, start to be able to take a little bit more aggressive trades, having that double range versus the single, and just kind of have yourself being set up. But it's really that Riplash, if it does connect though, that gives that Richter the advantage. But nonetheless though, I want to talk about these overall team comps. We did say that on the side of Canada, they have 2 big body front lines to really run through, create a wall for them. But if you look at Team France, they also have the same thing, a little bit extra with that Zarus to be able to dive that back line. And then you have the Terra and the Richter to be able to kind of flex in between, either help initiating onto those fights or help peeling for that back line. So a little bit of a open end there, a little bit more AoE with the Fae. But at the same time though, the double ADCs, the power, the burst that they can do to a single target is insane into those neutral objective fights.
The sleep paralysis demon, though, for Canada has to be a Riplash into a cage into, oh no, is that an unbreakable, unstoppable Terra within the rage cage with us? If they're able to pull that off, especially with a couple other mitigating kind of tempos, with like the gag grenade, it could be good as Neft takes a great amount of damage. Appy Picker gets the pick, and it's going to strike first in first blood of this game as Richter maybe will look for a pull underneath tower, as Terra is going to be looking for the kill onto El Diablo in mid, but we are going to see Grim survive.
Survive indeed. We talked about it a little bit just before that, how long that stun is early game, and it keeps getting worse. We saw Nef get hit with a rock point blank and just could not move, and the damage from the Twin Blast and the Zinx applied with a little bit from Appy Picker there. Had to force his flash due to the fact he's a little bit mispositioned. On top of that, trying to stop his push towards the tower, try and be safe, and it was just too much damage to control.
Oh man, now Tinkerbell with an attitude, making the rotation over, is going to be dropping DLD.
Level
The
6.
utilization of the blink is going to be good enough to tempo out Easy Peasy to under the tower. Outplay coming from Steel. You're stuck in here with me, says Lobber, as he extends the kill lead.
Please enjoy the music.
And the level 6 could not come at a greater time. Faye thought she had the advantage, saw the level 5 on Lobber, saw the wave push in on top of that off lane, but Lobber had a different plan. He was able to get that level 6. You saw him push forward, start to get those minion hits in because he knows he needed it. Faye mispositioned, started to get a little bit aggressive, and that is why she got punished there.
Got her wings clipped, humbled, brought to ground level, and maybe a little bit deeper as Steel pile driver into the grave. A strict outplay there that has to have Canada feeling good, as now Appy Picker may be looking to punish Mantu and Neff for being so pushed up. They know Neff doesn't have the blink, and now neither does Richter, as he is going to get ripped apart onto the backside. That kill is going to go into the pockets of Flakinator, as Neff has to leave his support in the dust.
Leave him indeed. Romanware trying to get there here. The Coliseum does hit. Lobber is going to be in a tight spot, and I don't know if he gets out of this one, Ego.
He's going to have to play it onto the back foot underneath the tier 1. Now they're going to have to put up a dive, but the Highlander hurl in combo with the spear near will be enough to be able to put France in goal.
France finally answering back here, but Canada is playing an exceptional game right now. You cannot deny it. They are out here. Appy Picker with the rotations, constantly punishing this dual lane for being overextended. And Lobber unfortunately goes down there, but he has been making plays. He's been keeping Morose quiet in the lane, keeping him from being anywhere far away from getting inside any parts of the map. And I mean, that's what you want to do against Morose. You don't want him to rotate. You don't want to give him an inch, because then he'll start to take him out. But Roomware looking to try and punish here on the backhand side.
Highlander Hurl is going to be up, but the Wild Rush to follow up is going to be good at getting some damage. ManQ, though, a little bit offline with the Riplash, is going to get punished. And off of the rotation, it looks like neither team is going to be able to really make a mark. F6, I'm happy to be doing it here with you. The E-square combo makes sense because the violence has been getting multiplied in the first 10 minutes of the game. It feels like we're in store for a punch-out.
We're in store for a heck of a game, man. I talked about how excited I was to be here to cast this with you. I mean, I didn't know I was casting with you. That was just topping on the cake. But the fact that I know these two teams are so well versed together, they know how to play this game. And hold on a second here, ManQ in a tough spot.
He's playing with his life. Happy Picker setting him up with the boulder to get knocked down. Now RoboWare onto the backside as easy peasy. He's going to be able to free cast some damage enough to dissuade Appy Picker from committing on to the engagement, as we see El Diablo and Appy kind of plan that space around the Fang pit, but are going to decide to reset instead.
They thought about it, but here comes Lauber. Steals here. That is another safety net as they now look to get a capitalization not only on the dual lane with that kill, ManQ misposition, but now a neutral objective. We've seen Canada play like this all the time, and when DLAB plays like this in other tournaments, they like to make sure they skyrocket through these Fang 2s, through these neutral objectives, and another pick into another neutral objective is keeping Canada right where they need to be.
I'm going to be real. Throughout the entirety of this early game, only Canada could put France in such a sticky situation. Yeah, that's a syrup joke, as now France is going to be able to pick up the mini prime, getting a little bit of value for what they lost over into the dual lane. It does feel relatively even despite the kill differential, but no one could say that Canada doesn't have the momentum. But if they lose it for a moment, let's be honest, in Nations, France is champions. They can be champions again, but as from what we can see, they're going to have to get through a confident Canadian team.
They are. It's going to be a pretty high hill to be trying to chuck along here, but I just want to highlight Morose is the one with the mini orb prime, so this is going to be great for him to try and combat this battle. But that Coliseum does hit. Here you go.
And RoboWare is going to hit them as well. Bull Rush is just going to get ran into the wall as Toasty on the back end is going to look to cook Roma as the unstoppable force is stopped. In fact, easy peasy make the rotation on the back end as El Diablo gets the kill onto RoboWare. And easy peasy gets a knockdown onto Lauber in what is going to be a 1-to-1 trade.
A 1-to-1 trade. I mean, Zinx coming through there with Rejuvenate, trying to give that second life towards Lauber. Just not enough damage being able to take to really reset and then apply it. They're still able to pick up. But I mean, Lauber was dead there. He was already dead to rights. But who wasn't supposed to be dead there? RoboWare, as the rotation from El Diablo himself, Big Blub with the GTFO to pick up a kill to keep Canada back into the same spot they need to. Man, this is such an exceptional game going on right now, and I think it's going to keep getting better.
And that really is indicative of the map awareness. Grail making that rotation over, knowing that he's not going to more than likely get the lazy back pick, but potentially can still get the pickup on Terra if he leaves early. Big ups and big awareness to El Diablo with a devilish pickup there, as now they are going to be returning to their lanes for the most part to get a little bit of farm and start scaling themselves towards this mid game.
This is where things start to intensify itself. This is where the neutral objectives start to really matter a little bit more. You're seeing the rotations from the offlaners over towards whichever side these neutral objectives are up. This second Fang Tooth, I think we're going to see a big skirmish, but we're also seeing aggression from ManQ. He has not been online today, and these hooks have been off, and that's really one of the things that are the downfall for Team France right now, not being able to get those picks. But RoboWare looks like he wants to get his graphics as well.
That's going to be an empowered Rod Rush to get the knockback. The CC is going to be good enough to set ManQ up for an easy skewer and an easy kill here for France, as they're going to get a +1 on the boards. Lauber playing the space back as he's going to be taking a little bit of damage from that spear near from Zaris, but it is not going to be converted into a kill.
I mean, that was a great pickup. I feel like that was more of like a consolation prize kill. It was the support caught out. There wasn't any neutral objectives to really get off of it, but it's more of trying to get the momentum back into your favor. So that was a great pickup on the side of Team France, but they need to keep that up. They need to catch everybody pretty much lag inside the jungle. We know Toasty likes to roam. We know that Appy's going to be there as well. So if they can easily get that down, it's going to be a huge difference. Oh, there it is! Put him on the board! Napped with the style points going over there to get the solo bolo on Big Leg.
I'm going to be honest, I'm going to call that a solo bolo right along with you because ManQ has not been super involved in the lane. All things being considered, though, there when his team's going to need him, I guarantee it. Neff, though, going to have to think about that one as he is going to be sent to base and has to start the long walk back to lane.
And I mean, we talk about Neft and how great of an ADC he is, and there it is proven once again. He knows when to kick it into high gear, and it looks like he's about to start doing that. And that's not what you want to see on the side of Team Canada. They're slowly losing this kill lead. The neutral objectives are tied up. They need to be careful in how they play the next couple minutes. We talked about a little bit how that second Fangtooth coming up. It's going to be really important. It's going to be a very hard-fought battle because they want to stop the bleeding on Team France, but they want to keep pushing their lead on the side of Team Canada. So we have to see how that works out. If any one of these offlaners is able to rotate any early picks on either side, that's really going to be the thing to start determining factor when to pull the trigger on that objective.
And the Highland Hurl into the Wild Rush is going to give El Diablo a little bit of divine damage here coming out of Rome, whereas Lauber is taking the fight into a 0-mana Morose, who's also going to be looking for an offset and more than likely a reset after he maybe picks up just a bit more gold, though. Fangtooth is going to be up, and with that Behemoth being activated, we are going to see an engaged Toasty using the Regenesis on himself to bring himself back to life, is going to be able to force the Appy onto the front line, but it doesn't look like
Easy
that kill off the
peasy.
Neff is going to be certain, as Easy Peasy has some easy kills in front of him. Ulti on the fly trap will catch two, killing one,
Auber's here,
blink
though.
into another one, getting another, looking for a potential third, but to be punished, only the greedy are, as Easy Peasy picks up 3. Now using the epoch to prevent himself from being popped. It is going to be the cavalry that has arrived. An ulti coming out of Lauber. He goes up and slams down on the 3, but does not get a kill until a few moments later. Ultimately, at the end of things, we're looking at a 3-1 trade and a reset coming for France, who has now reclaimed kill lead.
I mean, they end up picking up Grim there, so that's going to be a 4-1. But the fact is they got the jungler off. But if they're not able to damage this in time, but it looks like they should be. Appy Picker still way off into the back, but they might be able to clean up here. They are stuck into this pit, Ego.
Lauber, you're supposed to be a tank, but how tanky you're going to be into the face of this much damage. Tanky enough will be the answer to at least pick up 1 kill. However, onto the backside, when you dive, your backline gets dived in return. It's going to be a little bit of a tougher situation here for Morose, who's going to need more movement, more agility to get out of this situation. It looks like he may, as he has picked up that kill onto the Saints. Neff is not going to have much left in his tank, as he is going to be playing for who remains Lakeinator, but it won't be enough as Appy Picker picks up yet another kill.
And that is just a squirrely fight. That's the best thing Canada can get out of that situation. The fact that they couldn't retreat there, picked off Easy Peasy, got the rest, and kind of cleaned up 3 out of the 4 members inside that pit. So they're able to get themselves with a little bit more gold, a little bit more economy side of things with that. They were unable to get the Fangtooth, but it's 1-1. They already have one. And now what they need to do is keep this pressure up. They need to watch out for Easy Peasy and the Fae fly trap, that we know how crucial that is when you're grouped up, you don't have a cleanse, and you're going to need to be able to get out of it. And if Easy Peasy is allowed to rotate like he did before and catching at least 2 to 3 people in those fights, especially the backliners, it's going to be a rough day for Canada, and the momentum is going to start to shift over to Team France, and they're going to get real comfortable, and that's not what you want.
Yeah, because easy peasy has just put them on high alert. I mean, what else can we say? Tinkerbell sent 3 gamers over to Neverland in a couple of seconds off the back of a rotation that they knew was coming. They had wards at the instance, but they didn't care. And let's be honest, Tinkerbell didn't care for the economy she got out of the situation. That being said, though, Lobber here is going to get caught out. It's the 2v1 bull rush now being utilized in order to create some space, but it will not create nearly enough. The ulti is going to have to come out of the Coliseum. It's going to come out following suit. Appy Picker now picking a 2v1, at least for the time being, until El Diablo makes his own rotation over. It's going to be Romaware wearing out the HP of the Behemoth and Rampage. One more ability, one more Spear of Near that knocks Appy Picker far away. They sent him to base.
Back to base, back to that gray screen. What are you doing there, Appy? But man, you get a little bit aggressive, misses those skewer entirely.
It is going to be Mankiw blinking in, but the skewer hits everything but the opposition. We are going to need to see some abilities connect, but it looks like Neft may be looking to connect with the Shrapnel Cannon getting deployed 2v1. I don't need the support because I'll pick up 3 kills if you bring them back after I kill them. Easy peasy, though, once again making the appearance. Not all heroes wear capes, but they do fly on those wings. It's going to be Tinkerbell picking up another takedown in the duo lane. Fast Power is going to be up, and you know nature's going to prevail when the Fae is in the lane. Yet, Diablo, toasted, looking for a reset here as both teams are going to back it up.
We will return.
And easy peasy coming through with that combustion proc, just being able to delete anybody with that nettle. I mean, what a great rotation again. Easy peasy, I think right now is the carrying factor for keeping France into this game. A lot of key rotations coming out through that mid lane before the Grim to really facilitate for his team. And like we said before, I'm going to keep saying it, they have to find a way to stop easy peasy rotations. They need to understand that this Fae is a win factor for Team France right now. Neff is also a win factor. We've seen him not afraid to take these 2v1s, these 3v1s. He is that guy, and they need to be careful, and they need to play off the weakness of Mankiw here. He's been a little bit off with his skewers, and now the Ripple actually connects.
That's all you have to do, brother. Mankiw lands the one, and now look, it's a +1 to the kill category as Richter sets up France to get a kill.
The caster curse, man, happens every time, Ego. He hits a hook finally, able to get some capitalization through the mid there, and there goes that Grim. That's what we need from Mankiw for Team France to really get themselves back on top here in a comfortable lead to where it doesn't look like it's a sketchy game. Team Canada, they need to find the answer back here. They need to start grouping up. I think we're in that phase of the game. Big War Prime is here. Third Fangtooth is getting ready to pop up any second now. These are big fights to be had, and they're going to need Lauber. That is the game changer for Team Canada. He's always the win factor. He's always the person setting things up, the big body into that front line. And if he's not there, I think it's going to be a little bit of a trouble for Team Canada.
One thing you do not want France to have is a lead. Another thing you don't want even more than that is to have them had taken it from you, because that means they have the momentum, they have the pressure, and they have the ability to get the drive. And we are going to see the utilization of the press into the steward to get a burn down of one member. Appy Picker now being kicked off the back, and he's going to have to use the sleep in order to buy himself a little bit of space. But the blinking combination with a wild rush is going to be a full send into the 2v1 as the team fight is going to migrate down the hill now upwards towards the tier 2 Spear of Near. A little bit offline, but Morose is getting ever closer as the looming death is going to proact the Behemoth, the Rampage, to reset towards his score. At the end of the day, though, F6, that's 3 kills for France.
I mean, they're playing that fog wall. Mankiw hitting the triple skewer there to allow for the flat drop to hit as well. I mean, the combo is there, and that is not the combo you want to be stuck in. They played that corner very well. They played that tight space. Riftwalkers coming in handy, and what a play coming out of Team France. They are now into the lead with neutral objectives. They're in the lead a little bit more with +3 onto that tally mark of the kills, and this is where they wanted to be in the early game. The tide has changed. We've talked about it time and time again through Cast of the Ages. Here you go. The 6th member is momentum, and right now France is the one that has that member.
The 6 members momentum, and he may be getting a bonus with how much he is performing for this team. One thing you can always be scared of is a team with the lead. Another thing you can be terrified of is a team with the lead who's not scared of taking a fight, as now we're going to see Neff off the backbone looking to purify El Diablo. The Regenesis is going to come up just so he can get killed again. A little bit of a stat padding angle, as now we are going to see Morose taking the 2v1 Lobber in combination with that. Going to find a disengage after their teammate was picked off. We are looking at a big rotation and a play for the Your Prime.
They got the pick that they needed. That's a lot of damage from the Grimnot here. Lakeinator on a slow rotation. Overprime still at 8k. It's still a 50-50 for this smite, but the skewer, here you go.
That is going to be chocolate back breaking as Happy Picker is going to fall. Neff leaving nothing left of the HP bars until Lakeinator gets the pick up on him. Ventilate to ventilate his frustrations onto the opposition. The damage is big, but the value of his team being there is going to be bigger, as Lava is now going to be able to get a pick up onto Man Q. Epoch getting popped into an immediate blue kill by Easy Peasy and Morose. The time they need to reset, but that is ultimately going to be a 2-1 trade that is favoring Canada.
Ego, did you see that 4-man shield slam?
It was huge.
You can't ask anything else from the Swedish warrior. He is trying his hard to keep Canada alive in this game, but that was their saving grace. Team France grouped up, and he saw his opportunity. Somebody clip it, somebody ship it, because Team Canada is still in this game and still got some fight left.
Lobber with the 4-man shield slam, knocking up for the opposition in order to encourage the fans to get on their feet. Nations, are you guys not entertained? We got a high caliber Predecessor here as we see France and Canada playing on the knife's edge. In F6, it's still anybody's game.
Anybody game indeed. I mean, it's France. We're not gonna lie here. We're gonna keep it a buck. They still have that momentum. Shifted a little bit towards Canada throughout that last fight. That was a huge play. I really want to reiterate this. That stopped them from being able to do big Or Prime. That is a huge factor. If they got Or Prime there, this momentum would have shifted even further towards Team France, and Canada would have been in the worst spot possible that they wanted to be for this game. And with that turnaround here, they now have an opportunity to get a little bit of a better footing around these neutral objective. They have all 5 members. This is a 5v5. They're looking for a pick here on both ends of these teams. Lakeinator, though, a little bit further away inside that dual lane, trying to set that wave, trying to push it out. He needs to be careful because at any moment, France can see that and strike at this Or Prime.
France very well may take it. However, it is going to take a little bit more time as Zaris has reset. We do see a conglomeration of the France draft now making their way actually towards the left side of the map. Richter looking to probably return to the side of Drongo and support his carry, as now Happy Picker has his eyes on the mid lane. Very aware, though, he's outnumbered. He is going to reset and rejoin Toasty and El Diablo on this Grim to maybe get a counter push going towards the mid lane.
They are trying to set these waves up. This is part of the game where it's about setting your wave, vision control, making sure you have eyes on these objectives. We know now that the Primordial Fangtooth is slowly ticking away at that timer. It's going to be up soon. This is where they try to look for maybe a possible trade, and both teams are now have to be worried about their vision control and 2 neutral objectives. It's either going to go one way of, hey, we're going to take both of these and we're going to win this game, or either push towards that core, or we're going to trade 1 for 1 and we're going to see who wins the neutral objective battle. But here is that time where at any moment, one little mistake, one little misposition can really cost you the game, and both of these teams are on high alert.
Both of these teams are on high alert, and thus far, I'm expecting to see them play a little bit more cautiously here at F6. We saw Easy Peasy getting loose within that early to mid game on the rotations with as many items as the opposition, and they have built. They are aware that anybody, anywhere can be popped if their positioning is not near perfect. Speaking of positioning, look at the position that France has seized now around the Fangtooth. Maybe looking to play the space here. Roma, where it's going to be the first line of defense with Manq able to follow up onto the back, and a big shield coming out of Lobber will lend itself to a stun and a the potential of a couple wasted abilities, but there's no big engage yet, as RomoWare is going to be the first one to send it, able to burn through a lot of lobbers. HP collies him onto the back end, is going to be able to seize Lakenator out of this fight, as Neft is going to be able to continue fighting. Skewer is going to be able to just lock down and locked out 3, 4, 5 members as Canada gets RGSH, and the primal Banku is going to be picked up here by France.
France with one of the greatest plays I've ever seen in this game. Rose, we talked about it. We highlight him almost every single game. You might have missed it, but I'm here to help you out. He comes around from the fog wall, goes towards the back line, takes away Lakenator, forces the Coliseum, forces the Blink on him, and ends up killing him. And then into the fly trap, onto that mini corridor on top of the skewer, the setup, the plays, and France now with double buffs.
Brother, just take your hands off the keyboard the moment you have that many seeds stacked on top of you. Surely the weight's gonna cause you to buckle. We saw them looking to maybe set up a counter engage when Terra came in, but in the face of this much spatial control, what are you to do outside of maybe taking a bathroom break? It's gonna have to be incredible play coming out of Canada to stop the momentum that has been mounted for France.
These Fae ults, this fly trap has caught so many flies throughout this game. Canada is looking sick. They keep getting outplayed by this one ability. And I mean, it's such a strong ability. A lot of times people forget how strong it really can be. Lined up with this skewer, lined up with an aggressive offlaner, blocking you in a cage, pushing your back line back. But look at this, they might be able to get something here.
They're gonna get eviscerated as Naft is gonna turn on that radical damage due to the Radaround playing the space really well. He's also gonna be able to burn and burst down Lobber of 5+5. We're way past 10 minutes in, but it is gonna be another ace in exchange for only Neft's life. Now, it is gonna be a walk it down from your previous champions. They got the momentum, they got the minions, and they got the buffs. And F6, they got game one as we see France take down Canada and get one step closer to the finals.
Game number one. We thought they had the pick there, but once again, the fly trap coming in handy and saying, no, 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 not today. As France, like you said, take game number one. They're one step closer towards the finale. An exceptional comeback. Canada had the lead, but was not able to maintain it. Easy peasy, starting the momentum shift with that first rotation over to that dual lane, getting a nice little three-piece. And then from there, it was all kind of downhill for Team Canada.
Speaking of downhill in the face of Rampage and Steel both having leaps to some degree within their kits, they had Tinkerbell with an attitude tell them it's a no-fly zone. The absolute pressure and plays that we saw out of Easy Peasy, I mean, you can read the name and he made it look so easy. Start, easy finish as they get two aces back to back. We're going to have to see huge changes coming out of Canada if they want the opportunity to push this to a game three. That being said, you know who it is in the casting booth. It's Ego, it's F6. You got the E squared combo, and we're going to send it back to desk.
E squared, appreciate your work as always. I mean, I guess those formulas just didn't quite work out there for my friends on Canada. Toasty's got to erase that board, start from scratch. Guys, Ragna, Mugi, walk me through what just happened.
Well, this was an even game, as expected. Both teams played really, really good Predecessor. Canada had more skirmishes going in for them, but France were able to withstand the storm, and they went on the macro diff, and they were able to get the double buff. Press big buttons in a small corner and just get it. That's it.
Definitely press big buttons.
Yeah, the wombo combo were pretty nice. I have to admit, I was a little bit scared at the beginning. Of course, I'm unbiased there towards France. But yeah, like Happy Picker was doing some great ganks, kind of jungle diff in the early game. But then I feel like Romo really stepped forward with like his teammate, creating a good opportunities. And I think like a good moment is definitely that team fight that decided everything, where we just from our goes in with Moros coming from the side, going on to Laconator, because the previous team fight, the problem was Laconator was left uncontested. They learned their lesson. They changed the strategy, and the next team fight was like absolutely a slaughter. And from there, like the game couldn't be come back from Team Canada.
It was unfortunate, but it was also exactly what you kind of mentioned. Aggression around the objectives. France laid the trap, laid the snare. Canada took the bait, and unfortunately, we're left dangling by their ankle. That being said, that's game 1. EU ping. Canada now, no choice but to try to slog it through in this 3 series if they can even get there. Will they? Only one way to find out. Stick around after the break. We got game 2 for France versus Canada coming at you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Predecessors Nations League 2. Bring it on! Yeah, let's get it. All right. Good start for us here. We need that amp, honestly. If you're outside of Canada, you need that energy. We got to find a way to hop back in this. It's on your servers. I'm D'Lo, joined here by the musical talents there of Ragnarok, guitar hero, predecessor, desk expert, Mugi Wawa, aficionado as well on the analysis. Let's get into it, guys. How we feeling? What are we hoping to see this go to a game 3?
Well, this could very much go into a game 3, just because it was pretty much even an EU ping. So on any ping, I could see it go for a game 3. I could see an even game here, and I could see the Canada team bring it into the late game and maybe playing their macro game and actually pulling through.
Would be nice.
Well, both captains said it's not going to a game 3, so either they both slide or we don't go to the game 3.
Joe's just gonna throw. He's like, "Yeah, we're done." All right. Well, I didn't keep my promise. It can't just happen at this point. So maybe just going to sacrifice himself on that altar. Hopefully, not going to be the case here as we look to see these P's and B's. So, Mugi, you made the point, and I agree that both teams got what they wanted, but now Canada's got the ping that they wanted. Do we think that the battle strategy needs to change, guys, or can we keep it the same now operating on home soil?
I think they can keep it the same, honestly. Their comfort picks, the picks that they want to play, the Steel Rampage combo, the Grim mid lane. I think they can make it work in this ping. They just need to play it a little bit slow as they want to normally do, and I think they can pull it off.
Yeah, I agree with Ragnar. I think they can keep the same thing. Probably maybe switch Laconator on something as in Twin Blast to be like a little bit more aggressive now that he's on ping. But besides that, I feel like the composition can work. And also like they got surprised by the speed of execution of Team France. That's really like what caught Canada off guard. And naturally, like when you switch the ping, like you have like faster speed of execution yourself, so you can react better. And at the same time, the execution of the enemy team is going to be slightly slowed down. And at that level, those precious milliseconds can make the difference.
Absolutely. When the game is precise as this, every second counts. Every pick counts. Every ban counts. How about that end of the spectrum? Knowing how efficient that Faye was, those fly traps, man, they hurt. Every single insect caught within its grasp saying, hey, now you know how we feel. Sephiroth is going to be the ban on their side. Does Canada maybe need a target ban different?
I wouldn't say so. It's normal for France to just take the Severog away, and nobody wants to deal with that. But Canada is saying, okay, Moros, that's enough. Play something else. Yep. But that allows the Rector again, though.
Yeah, they seems to like the Rictor. To be honest, Manhu was kind of weak on the Rictor for 15 minutes. He wasn't landing a single hook on EU ping, so I hopefully maybe he warmed up now. It's going to be slightly better. But so far on the side of Team Canada, we're going to be for the same thing with Steel and Zinx. I'm quite curious what Moros is going to pick, because Moros used to be known for his Grux, but Grux is not in the meta. Zarus is off. Probably going to maybe go towards the Terra, but we'll see how it goes.
Narbash rejoins the team. Last time we saw this happen, it was in our prior matchup. It didn't quite go too well for our friends on the US side. Iggy and Scorch, a classic ping staple. If you're going to be operating underneath that pressure, you might as well pick something that's going to be good for it. Those turrets will be awfully useful. And now it's going to be up to our friends on Canada to find something to match it out. So far, they've kept it same. We have to find out if it's going to continue down that line.
It's interesting from France, though. They can score going into the mid lane. This Richter is obviously not going to be support. I struggle to see that this is not going to be offlane. I have not seen Morose in it at all. So this is probably Richter jungle. The Norber's support from Mankey, I think he's the one that does it the best at the moment. But again, for Canada, they're just copy-pasting. It's the same thing. And are we going to see the TB and the Grape coming back? Who knows? But for France, I think they're cooking for playing on ping, for playing for late game pick here. They're playing it. The draft is very well done by them at this one.
Yeah, and I love they can completely shift their strategy compared to what they were doing previous game. Previous game was a bit like wombo combo. We want to kill people fast. Well, here it's really like a slow burn with the slow heal from Narbash, the damage of the Iggy. And to be fair, when I see the first 3 pick of Canada with Rampage, Steel, and Zinx, well, I think I like what Team France is cooking there because they don't have that much damage. So of course, we got the Murdoch being secured. I think like the idea maybe with this Drongo ban from Team Canada was to force Team France to ban the Murdoch, and suddenly like they get like the Twin Blast and we get like Neft in a bad position, but Team France didn't take the bait.
Smart. In fact, they're always the ones laying the bait instead. So this time, you say you can't bait the baiters. We are the masters of it. Howitzer. Not going to be locked away this time, which means it will be picked up. Gotta imagine it's going to be pounded there by our friends Love there. So, hey, not too shabby here in that case. We've got some tools that were the same as game one. We also have some tools that we didn't get to see because they were banned away. Canada, do we feel like their chances are stronger with this comp?
I would say it's kind of the same comp that they pulled the last time, just aside that they don't have Grim Mid, another ADC. They have a Howitzer instead of it. Well, as for France, they just have the Twin Blast, good and ping, Terra again. So I would say it's again a 50-50 for me, even though I like the France late game comp for sure more.
And I kind of like what Canada has pulled there because it's so easy to kind of do it wrong against this type of combat Team France has pulled. But the Murdoch and Howitzer has definitely 2 carry that I like because with the long arm of the low plus the long range damage of the Howitzer, you can support the Rampage or still going onto the Narbash or going onto the Twin Blast or the Iggy and Scorch to be able to kill them fast. Because if you don't kill them fast, you're going to lose the fight. At the same time, we also have a Richter on top to be able to reception any type of aggression, and playing Howitzer into Richter is very rough. So I'm going to be fully unbiased here. Team France got the win.
Fully unbiased indeed. Ragna, any change in opinions for you, my friend? Does Canada get this one out, or is France going to take it 2-0?
I still say it's a 50-50. Again, I like the France late game comp, but I hope to see something spicy from Canada here to win it.
Flip a coin, guys. That's all it's going to be up to. I mean, Toasty had the formulas up, but does E equal MC squared? Does it equal E squared here? In a second, we're going to get down to the casters. Ragnarok, play us out. Let's go.
Thank you so much, D-Lo, sending it to us on a high note. Moogie with the insights and Ragnarok in a roll with the riffs. Guys, you know who we are. It's E Squared, it's Ego F6. And brother, are you ready for us to get into game 2, what could be the final game of this set?
Man, I'm always ready, man. It is a comp to be fought for. Like you said, Moogie said, the slow burn versus that just trying to burst everybody down from a longer range. I mean, I think this is a very confident pick coming out of Team Canada. I'm a little bit more by 60-40 Team Canada here, just because I've seen them play this comp yesterday, and this is the comp they did just totally just steamrolled everybody with throughout most of this tournament. So I think this is going to be possible here. It's a little bit more comfort. We've seen a Blub on this Howitzer. This is the mid lane mage pick that he's comfortable with. A little bit different from the Grim here. Still has that range, kind of like the GTFO, but a little bit more extra, a lot more CC, a little bit with the slow there with the Howie Mine as well. He has to play against the Richter. It's a little bit rough for him, but the fact that the Richter's playing on ping, and we saw how Mankey was for the first 15 minutes. And if it's the same thing again, Howitzer might have a thrive into the situation.
Yeah, Howitzer is going to have to just be able to play through this Richter if he wants to find success. Mankey most definitely is going to be warmed up after that last game, but One thing that is going to go in El Diablo in this Howitzer's favor is the fact that if he messes up, that Zinx is going to give him that Regenesis potentially as one of the 2 most valuable damage dealers, or it could shift over to another impact character, Impact, because he's coming in hot, and that is going to be Steel. We saw within the last game was able to make some pretty solid plays, and if that is able to be continued on into this one on a more comfortable composition, I have no doubt we potentially could get pushed into a game 3.
Think, man, Canada right now has the home field advantage. It's going to be a different story, especially like Mugi was saying, the milliseconds are a thing in this game, and anything to help you just be able to make a decision a little bit quicker and not make the enemy not be able to react as quick to everything that you're trying to do is what you're aiming for. As we see the control here with Toasty using that Zinx to be able to kind of just hold that lane. Lob and Morose, though, the standard kind of just fight together. Talking about that offlane a little bit, that Terra does kind of counter the Steel, but the Steel has so much CC that's actually, you don't really counter too much, but you kind of just stall yourself throughout everything.
And Neft actually getting stalled in lane here a little bit. T1 may not be quite safe enough as Toasty and Lakenator force down this wave underneath that T1.
I mean, that's just the pressure coming out of the double range there. Zinx has that total control like we talked about early on. She was able to push back Neft and Manku. Manku was not able to hit that thunk, so not really able to trade some damage into that, potentially get a nice little trade window. So Murdoch's going to be able to push that on in, have that wave control to be able to push underneath their tower and get as much damage off as they're trying to retreat themselves into that tier 1.
Luckily enough, though, that Narbatch is going to be able to provide a little bit of healing. Appy Picker, though, now is going to be able to get an invade onto this 3 count before making his way, more than likely, back into either that dual lane or onto a more friendly side. I'm expecting to see things take a little bit of a calmer note here early on after the absolute fight show, the fight night that we had within that first game. Both of these teams know that they're playing on a knife's edge. One will solidify their spot and give them the opportunity to go back to back and be the nation's champion, while the other has to just fight for the right to still be here.
They're gonna have to fight either way, right? So that's the main thing. Easy peasy, though, getting caught out on a little roam here. If they collapse on him, it might be a little bit of trouble, but looks like he's clear and good to go to get out. Neff with a little bit of poke. One thing I do want to highlight, though, is, oh my goodness, hold on a second here. Might not be safe at all as he forces a flash, and Manku and Easy Peasy are, oh, hell.
Oh my God, dude. Running through the jungle with the boys. Naturally, Diablo's going to get a little diabolical with the blink up to secure the kill. That's going to be first blood in favor of Canada.
Ow, the man got some skills. El Diablo, Big Blub says he has a message to send to Team France, and is that they are still fighting for their shot. And he's saying this is going to a game number 3 because he wants to be a winner. Great rotation there, capitalize. The blink already forced out. Easy peasy, nowhere to go. And with Iggy with no flash, already taking the death, first blood going to Howie. This mid lane is looking like a favorable matchup for a gank, or just for the fact that Howie now has that economy towards his side.
Love is very much so a momentum player. I've had the pleasure of being able to cast him for a long period of time, and if you get him fed, let me tell you, the garbs, they skyrocket, they double up, as now we're going to see the blink, though, over into the solo lane, and more than likely the juggling of aggro is going to begin, as Lauber is going to be able to hit the bull rush. Appy Picker at point blank is going to be able to get the kill, but the tower kills him as well, but the action isn't quite over, as Easy Peasy finds himself in a 2v1 situation. The mine is going to be able to get a reset, as now Toasty is going to be looking to force the space between Diablo and the rest of the team, but there goes the rip flash as it rips the opportunity of surviving away from the Howitzer, giving Canada the kill lead still 2-3.
The brawl is starting to happen. This is the force that we were talking about. They're ready to fight for this game number 2. Team France slowly answering back to everything that Team Canada is making. Appy Picker there, unfortunately, just got a little too long inside of that T1 tower and ended up trading that kill in towards the Terra. So not a bad trade for Morose in that lane. And then here comes that Richter rotation to get the pick off on El Diablo here, Blub inside the mid lane, so great rotation. But Toasty once again over into this mid lane, just pressure.
Boulder, they know he doesn't have the blink, so it's a bully ball and go jump him. Jump that badass, easy peasy. He's going to get locked down once again. This is just going to be a miserable lane to deal with until that blink comes back up. And even then, I don't think anybody on Canada is going to lament. Nonetheless, that is going to be Hauser, who picks up another kill. And Appy Picker looking to pick up some kill pressure, potentially onto Morose, but seeing that health bar be pretty full, they're instead going to go for the side kill. Morose, though, not willing to just give it up for freezies, is going to just play the space around it and look for that steal.
Look at this Halby rotation. He knows he has this priority inside mid lane here. There's no vision to really tell them until that 3 camp that he's on that rotation. But with that wave crashing, he's not going to be able to get too much out of it, but you can see already what the cause of the multiple ganks in mid lane is doing. It's allowing for Blub to be able to see these rotations, allowing for him to now start to spread that extra 10% of love that he's been getting inside that lane towards these other lanes. And that's not what you want to see early on in the game for Team France.
Yeah, and we talked about it from time to time. That's going to be stacking value in the lane. If someone is dominant, that means they're able to give you 120%, completely pushing out the opposition. But that also then gives them the opportunity to kind of shift that 20% extra over into another lane, and that is what can lead to this cascading effect of suffocation. We're already seeing it here with the Howitzer, having had to take control with the help of its teammates. He is now able to spread some of that pressure throughout the match state and ultimately develop a lead. As we see Canada, it's going to be striking that Fang Tooth.
This is a great call here. This is a great play. They saw Romaware on the opposite side of the map. That was their trigger to pull towards that Fang Tooth. Mid lane was pretty much even. Dual lane was pushed in towards their side, and this allows for them to make this pull, this initiation. And there it is. Once again, the first Fang Tooth going over towards Team Canada, but we've seen this story again. But look at this off lane. 2 off laners, no mana, same amount of health. 2 big tanks going at it. It's just having a fun time over there.
And that's exactly what you like to see, not just for the tactical aspect, but for the fun of it. At the end of the day, this esports is still taking place in the game, and all of these players love to play it. All of these fantastic predecessors view it, love to view it. That being said, neither of these teams love to lose, and it is going to have to be Canada who maintains this pressure, maintains this lead in order to push us into a game 3, because we saw something similar in the last game, but France just knows how to win, as Man Q is knowing that he's going to get out, but not before taking some damage.
Yeah, Toasty on that Zinx with her passive. Once you get the 5 procs, the 40% movement speed, just running down your opponent. Just kind of nulls and voids that March that he's trying to use. Always able to get a good trade with the Zinx over on that side. And like we said last game, Zinx and Toasty are the duo pair. They sit there like white on rice. They go together like PB&J. And you're going to see exceptional game out of him. I can feel it the way he's playing right now on this game number 2. He's confident. The roams that he's been making, 3 or 4 rotations over the mid. He already knows the flash was down, getting that pressure towards it. And now you see him again, now rotating over towards the mini or prime side. He's trying to do his best to be the second jungler, and that's what you see out of great supports, being able to match the energy, knowing where you need to be. You don't always need to stick with your dual laner. You want to be able to impact the map, and Toasty right now is doing an exceptional job.
Canada hasn't really needed to turn up the violence. They've just turned up the intent. Everything that they have done has been calculated, and they've executed on it. Something that they struggled with a little bit within the mid-game of last game. As we see, they get a pick, then play the space around Fangtooth, take it, burn it. Now sending Toasty, as you said, for that full migration, looking for a pick mid, seeing that there's not going to be any value, then immediately making a rotation onto the camp, as that ventilator in combination with the Crash Bang Boom is going to be utilized now. It is going to be the Regenesis that comes up, now no longer active though. This dive is oh so very deadly. Backline, it's going to be Romaware, but he's not going to be necessary because the carry gets worn out. It is going to be able to create a little bit of space. The Ricochet does come through, but the blink coming out of Romaware will buy him life as Zinx outplays and dances away from the opposition on the rotation. You see Diablo looking to spread a little bit of damage over ulti is going to come out as Easy Peasy is going to be forced to burn the blink again. A net positive for the moment. But F6, we know what happened last time Iggy lost the blink.
What are we doing?
Yeah, and it's going to be a rough time for him again for another 5 minutes into that mid lane. But I do want to point out, yes, they were able to get the kill on Lakeinator over there on top of the dual lane. But the fact of the matter, hold on a second, huge shield side going on there. Lobber zero, almost 0 HP, but he goes down. Morose with that solo bolo on side of that off lane.
Solo Bolo with a bang out. Both of these players understanding that it's a 50-50 that could go either way. However, it's going to be the unstoppable, not just an ulti name, but in player classification that is able to get the kill. Now, though, in the mid lane, it is going to be a Riplash that forces the blink out of Blub on the howitzer.
I mean, man, they're going at it. We barely have enough time to really kind of break down this game. As I say that again, here comes that boulder from the shoulder.
And it is going to be ManQ who takes it, getting his world rocked. It could be all ogre, but a well-placed Stunky is going to be able to buy some solid time now in exchange for your ability. You will have a blink as Lakeinator eliminates ManQ.
Flashed him down there. Narbash using his flash prior into that fight we're talking about. We're trying to break it down. There was a lot of resources spent to be able to take down Lakeinator, and that is why he was able to flash there to get that kill back in hand. They also need to be aware, though, because the second Feint is about to be in play. Narbash coming out of base, though, should be some nice and right timing. Dual lane has not taken their reset yet, so we won't see an initiation straight off the bat. Lobber and Morose are still kind of dueling it out, so it might be a 4v4 for this contestant. But with the way how Morose is playing right now, Lobber might be the one on the retreat.
Dude, retreat is what Lobber needs to do. I mean, how many times I gotta teach you this lesson, old man Morose tells Lobber as he forces him back closer to that tier 1 yet again. However, we can now see the beginning of a grouping over in this dual lane, pushing into the tier 1 tower. And will be left. And ManQ Roma waiting in the wings is going to have the Riplash up, but coming from behind Appy Picker, they don't know it quite yet, but this is all the elements needed for a 3v3, but it is going to be dispersed instead as RomaWare is going to make a rotation back into the jungle.
They don't have the initiation boulder. They don't have all the factors. Yes, they pushed in dual lane, but they weren't able to get mid lane. Prio and Appy Picker still lurking around, just causes them to not be confident enough to pull that second Fang Tooth. And still, though, now dual lane gets to reset for the side of Team Canada, and this might be their proc. And that's a little bit low on mana, but here comes Team France saying, hey, we can pull this. Morose has rotated. Lobber on the other side of the map. We have a numbers advantage, 5v4. Can we get this? But the answer is, can Canada stop them from leaving this pit?
Oh, no, not at all. That was such a fast burst down, getting it up and started as the damage began to spill in. There was no chance, really, of Canada preventing France from getting out. However, they may be looking to get it back as that behemoth is going to get utilized. It is going to be met what they think the space is. It's going to be closed, though, by Lakeinator and Toasty, who are going to be looking to push Neft and ManQ, but there's a tower right there, and with behemoth's down, no one's looking to dive.
Just too far. The thunk was the saving grace there for the side of Team France in that dual lane. Just be able to create enough space so the boulder cannot land, and if it does land, it's going to land at a far enough distance to where that ricochet is not going to be hit just in time for them to stop it. So big ultimate down there, huge resource. He should have it back up within the next 60 seconds to a minute and a half or so. So he should be okay, but the real problem is now it's going to be his off lane.
Lobber getting hit with the skewer is going to respawn with a shield. Some damage potential not quite there, as Morose has already reset himself in anticipation of El Diablo. Now Lobber restacking the CC Mile High Club. It is going to be the Riplash that misses, guaranteeing the kill for Howitzer. The action isn't quite over yet. It's going to be low back coming out of Lakeinator as
Easy peasy.
he starts cooking. Easy peasy. He's on the rotation before. Make the plays where his team needs him, and he's playing pretty hot, scorching the opposition, some would say, as he feeds the kill to Neft.
Man, Toasty got out of there with the ultimate, just being able to save his life. But both of these mid laners making exceptional rotations towards opposite lanes. Howards are able to pick up the kill on Roma, where easy peasy able to rotate and pick up the kill on Lakeinator, help facilitating. Kind of get a little bit of payback from Toasty, rotating towards his mid there and tell him, hey, stop coming over here and worry about your lane.
I don't know, man. Call me crazy upset, but I think we may have seen this before. Canada with a strong lead, but then France getting an entourage of takedowns, followed up with an objective, and now exuding a lot of map pressure. Maybe a little similar to game one. It's going to have to be Canada who punches back fast, hard, and immediately to stop the pressure and amount of IQ that is being put on display here from France. They know that even if it's a little bit, they seize the momentum back, and now they are looking to put themselves in the same position they did last game, in a position to enter the finals.
I mean, right now, Team Canada still has that economy towards their side, so they do still have a slight momentum shift into their favor. They are in the favor right now of the game if you look at it from a whole. But like you said, they need to answer back because it's shifting slowly away from them. And I think that big key factor is Morose over here in this off lane. He's giving the hands towards Lauber, not allowing for him to rotate. And Morose is the one doing the rotating, and Morose is the one impacting the entirety of the map from the off lane.
He's been impacting the map. He's been also making a lot of impacts on Lauber as he's been getting chunked through with the combination of that Wild Rush, Highlander, or the full kit, really, of Terra being put on display, and just how pungent it can be and how much it can stink to be the one who goes up against it. That being said, Canada definitely still does have hope. However, they may not have a solo later for long. Brother, let him play the game as Romaware gets the kill onto Lauber.
Yeah, CC locked down. Take a knee, take a seat. Lauber goes back home to think about his actions there as he's caught pushed out. One thing there, we do talk about this a little bit. Lauber's mispositioned at times, and once again, he was caught out there. But look at this aggression coming out of dual lane.
It's going to be a punk to be able to set it up, but some very do healing needs to come out of things as that T2 over in the far lane, and the solo is going to go down. Behemoth is going to go up on Rampage. It's going to be at a risk for going down. It's going to be the forcible use of the blink, as now it is going to be a defensive use primarily of the ulti. Mine is going to reset Morose, but reset him closer as the Highlander hurl comes out. It is going to be an epoch to prevent himself from being popped, as the action is going to be sporadic around the map. Romaware gets the kill onto Appy Picker, and El Diablo Blub gets the kill onto Roma. Call it a circle of violence, as it seems to now finally be coming to its conclusion. It's going to be a 1-2 trade going in favor of France, who's tied up.
Is a tie ball games, ladies and gentlemen. Neff with a single dingle over off into the dual lane as well. Toasty left his sidekick for a second, and that caused Neff to showboat. Neff 2-on-1. People talk about Ping. He does not care. He's an absolute legend. He's one of the greatest ADCs to play this game to date, and he's showcasing it here once again. And now this opens up Fangtooth number 3. Are they going to be there in time? I don't think so. Are they going to stop the retreat? Let's find out.
Robert probably looking for the engage here. Roach looking to prevent a little counter pill for his backlaners, playing onto the backside man Q. Could potentially set his team up for victory here with the well-placed dunk or crash bang boom. But Romaware will do it first with the grab as Iggy snatches away the life of Lakeinator. There's going to be Lauber in full retreat mode, though, as he's going to be forced to utilize all of his kit and the blink. Romaware finds himself in a 1-2 Appy Picker with Diablo backing him up, has the potential to get him picked off. Skewer in order by a little bit of time. Riplash to keep him tapped in, as it looks like Rampage is going to try to tap out. A disengage and reset coming out of France as they pick up 1.
Man, the CC, the silence, the full kit of Richter being used to the highest level possibly can be with Romaware, opposite than we saw in game number 1 from ManQ. And he's dominating on this. He's locking down targets. He's stopping people from doing what they want to do. And I think right now he's a real key factor in stopping Team Canada from turning a lot of these fights and getting the picks that they want to. And right now, Team France is looking like game number 1. They have found found their mark. They have found their way to come out on top. Now we have to figure out if Team Canada can reverse their fate and get themselves into a better position, because we are at that 20-minute mark, ladies and gentlemen, and we say it time and time again, these bigger neutral objectives are really what matters.
Now, Mancu stepping up into the damage of 4. I have so many questions, brother. That may be your jungle, but you are going to get swamped if you step into that situation. Easy peasy here, setting up alongside of the Veil, but I mean, with a man down, they have no reason to push when they can reset and just get priority over underneath the prime pit. Morose looking like he wants to play the space over onto the right side. We're going to see a little bit of a standstill as Lakener, Appy Picker, and Lobber wait to see if they can get a pick.
Nice little slow play here, right? They know they can't pull the ejective. They can't pull the big orb prime. It's too early on. El Diablo Blub a little bit low in HP, but hold on, here's that trigger ego.
It is going to be Lobber on the engage. Now playing off the backside. Big boulder coming out of Appy Picker. Who's going to eviscerate Romaware? The skewer was solid, but the damage was even harder to get past. As now we're going to see the ulti coming out of El Diablo as Morose comes out of hiding. He's not here for the solo bolo. He's here for your squad. Regen assist is going to be active, though, on the howitzer just to bring him back so Neft can get the stat pad. They're surging forth. They're running through. They're walking down Toasty.
Oh my, I mean, that was a great engagement, right? I mean, that they got the pick that they needed, but the problem there was Lakener got caught and pushed out onto the opposite side. The entire Team Canada got pushed kind of just away when they tried to fight that tight corridor. They didn't just have everything for it, but Appy Picker is still up. 4K HP dropping down very quickly. Appy Picker could come in for a steal here.
Especially into the face of this much feel, and damn strong armor of the wall is going to get extended with the bull rush, but all it has done is put Seal in an impossible position, as his name is hard, but his HP is looking soft in the front of this much damage. F6, France is online.
France is online indeed. I mean, they picked a jungler there. Appy has every utility in their kit to be able to get into that pit. Yes, there's a question about what's the HP like, can you even get there, but the attempt was not even made. A lot of sloppy plays coming out in the last 30 seconds, 40 seconds from Team Canada, and you're seeing the consequences from it here. Big Orb Prime going towards Team France, and now Appy Picker caught out even in his own blue side jungle.
And he may be knocked down here. He's going to be utilizing the lip buff. Ventilator is going to be active, and with a little bit of a dash for Neft is going to be able to lock down a kill. And it feels like if they do not have that regenesis, if they do not have Toasty present, that a lot of these team fights for Canada are starting to just fall apart. But naturally, the French don't need Toasty to have their bread and butter. They may have this game in the bag as they're going to surge forward onto the in-hit. No fear, Rover. In the reflection, Lobber is going to be playing for an engage off the back end. A big ulti will knock up the biggest target, that being Romaware, who does get bursted down. A bit of a reversal of fortune. No mural is going to lead two, not one, but two members falling on each side. Epoch now falling off of the howitzer as Morose gets Lakenator to fall off of the map. That kill going in his favor, and he's not done. Morose once more. He's going to be pushing alongside Neft, alongside the rest of his team, as France is going to be able to seize another member, but not before Canada makes it in an exchange. F6, we're looking the 3v3 situation, now a 2v2 as Appy Picker with the ventilator up is going to be at risk of getting picked off. The carry, the support are going to walk away.
NEFT put some respect on his name. Big Nav making the plays. He fought, he blinked out, came back in, and they just pretty much delete everybody. Morose is able to buy some time for the healing to come back in for Nap, and then they just kept on fighting. They are not scared, and they are ready, and they are here to try and take game number 2 to push themselves forward. But Lobber is trying his best. This is going to be a Hail Mary play, but what are you going to do?
Lobber, brother, no. Brother, no. I know you have to try, but at the end of the day, trying is not going to be succeeding as it is going to be trying to fake. be swinging in favor of France, who is going to just be able to burn through the HP bars of the opposition. It is going to be a point-blank long arm of the law, but I gotta say the damage being done by France is criminal. It's going to be too much for Murdoch to stop as the last one standing in the death march at the near end of this tournament run for Canada is going to be Rampage.
Rampage indeed, and that's going to be the last member standing. It's still 15 seconds before anybody could come up off this cooldown and even help, but Morose is already pushing towards the core. On the left-hand side, the rest of the members are pushing as well, and it looks to be dire for Team Canada here.
Is going to be back up, so Happy Picker will technically have 2 lives here with that. Regenesis coming out, but the Whiplash into the damage will give Zinx the casting time they need at the core. It's going to be brought sub the 50% threshold. Coming out of El Diablo, but it won't be enough as your year 1 champions are going to be returning to the throne room. France takes it in 2.
2 games, 2 wins. On to the next round. Team France played exceptionally well. 2 games in a row, we see Team Canada having the lead, having the momentum, and they're playing their game. And there's a switch. The light turns on for Team France, and they're just able to take control of the game again. We talked about how Canada likes to play the long game, but Team France says so do we, and we're going to play it better than you. Really exceptional play coming out of Morose this second game to really lock it in. Romaware also playing well, and then Naft just being the absolute GOAT of ADCs to really lock in and secure this victory for them. And he was just allowed to play his game. He was allowed to freeform. And yeah, there's a lot of times you thought he was dead, but he was not. He was able to escape. He's a little squirrely little fella. All around, Team France shows why they belong in the finals. And then we're going to see if they're going to be able to come back and do the 2-peat.
It makes sense that he was playing Twin Blast because he got double after double, and now they're looking to maybe be the 2-time champions as they have solidified their spot here within the finals. I mean, what can I say that you did here? Neft put on an absolute performance within that game, putting the team on his back and noticing it's pretty light because Morose can carry his own weight, brother. These squads both performed at a very high level, but you can just see in the structure and the way they play, the comfortability within the mid and late game, that France is just a team that is built to win. Thank you so very much, Canada, for coming out. You put on a hell of a show for the viewers of Nations here. However, that's going to be it for the time being for E Squared. It's been Ego, it's been F6, and we're going to be sending it back to the desk.
E Squared, appreciate you guys very much for all your casting talents. You know, at the end of the day, guys, a 2-0 was promised by both sides. A 2-0 was delivered. Canada just didn't quite know which team would be giving it over. Unfortunately, they can't quite find the victory. They found some good plays. Can I get a sad riff from you there, Ragnar?
A sad riff from me?
Sad riff, buddy. That's at least some good levity there, but you know what? They gave it their all. They had some really good moments. Just guys, walk me through why this didn't quite work out.
Well, this game looked not as even as the first game, which is surprising to me, I would say, since it was an NA ping. But maybe the picks that France with Mankey, the Norbush, it was very, very, very good. The Terra was absolutely dominant. They couldn't deal with the Terra. I think they just outpaced them. They're just gonna deal with it, really.
Yeah, it was surprising because I feel like, despite the fact that Canada was doing the right thing at the beginning, they start to secure some kill. Happy Picker was very present, while Romaware was once again nowhere to be found in the early games. And they even get like the first Fangtus, and then they get the first mini prime on Steel, and then we should start snowballing out of there. And then Morose happened. Solo Bolo, the Steel with the mini prime, completely stopped the whole momentum of Team Canada. And from there, Morose was ahead, start to rotate for second Fangtus, and the whole game plan of Team Canada was to snowball, taking advantage of this very weak early game that Team France has draft for themselves, and they actually did that very well in the early game, like forcing all the flashes and then the kills. But as soon as Moors actually secured that, it was like doom for them.
And as you can see there by the bracket, what that means is it's going to be English versus French in that finals. The forces of imperialism are the only winners of today, and they're both looking to expand their territorial dominance. You know what? US, Canada, despite North America not quite making it to the end, you should still be proud of your runs. Guys, we're looking to the future now here ahead of time. Just English is going to have to be Fear in France, and France, you gotta, like you said earlier, Mugi, is gonna be Fear the Penguin. Any advice, any warnings you want to give either team before we kick it to that break?
Well, any advice? I think both teams, I don't know, both teams, they know each other very well already. They know the game that they're gonna bring to each other. So I don't think these players need advice, to be honest. They really know what they're gonna be facing.
And I feel like it's the time also to say something like, no, we have settled. Europe is better than North America. They both win, England and France, on North American ping. So that is settled. So now it's a battle of who in North America is actually the better country, US or Canada, because we have the small final, and who in Europe is the better country, now that we have like fixed the region stuff. When it comes to those matches, I think I love like the duality of US against Canada, because the US is this very chaotic, aggressive team, loves to get like momentum going, while Canada, like the DLAB style, we play chill, slow, we wait it out, and at the end we end up winning. So that's gonna be interesting. But on the side of France and England, I feel like England is slightly better in terms of playing the macro game, being very clean. But I feel like France has slightly better explosive power in the aggression. But England has the best pillar in the game, in our opinion, with Import and Penguin being so good at defending. So that will be very interesting to see, like, if the aggression of France can actually break the defense prowess that England has shown so far in that tournament.
Yeah, it's been dominant. And your bias, Mugi, whether we call it that or not, was proven to be completely correct. Both of these teams are absolutely dominant. US and Canada both starving for a taste of victory, and you know what? They have another chance to grab it here. So hopefully going to be seeing that third place be a bit more competitive between those series, and hopefully going to see that grand finals certainly be one to remember as well. But there's only one way to find out, guys, by kicking to a break. We'll be back after it. But Ragnarok, play us out for the Bring It On. We'll catch you all later.